Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. We're back with another episode of the Crossworld Cast. So basically, if you guys haven't seen the previous videos, we have a few of the team members here. Today we have Russell and Markus, and we're going to be covering a topic that is, pressing in the Dragon Ball Super community. Today we'll be talking about the future of organized play, which is kind of a hot topic right now because we haven't got anything too official in terms of organized play. We did have Worlds wrap up in December. We had the DBS Fest announced for March, but we don't have any true organized play. So before we get into the topic, you guys got to meet Markus, hear a little bit about him in the first episode. Check the playlist down in the description if you guys want to, go over his introduction and see the other episodes of the podcast. But this time, I'll let Russell introduce himself. He's really good about, helping me out here, honestly, and giving me some good content to bring to you guys. So I do really appreciate him. But Russ, just take a second to introduce yourself.
Hey guys, for those of you who don't know, my name is Russell. I've been teammates with Joey and Koos for quite a while now. And yeah, I'm excited to talk about this heavy topic right now.
All right, so we'll get into it. So we're talking about the future of organized play. The first thing I want to talk to you guys about, I'll go with Koos first. Obviously last year, COVID was crazy. What did you think about the year of webcam dominated events?
First off, it went by like, a blast, right? Like it was so fast. I don't even remember, to be honest, all of last year. But I do remember playing in quite a few webcam events. At first, I was reluctant about them, but as I played them, I enjoyed them more. And honestly, like I kind of prefer it nowadays. There's something nice about playing at home, in the comfort of your own house, in your own chair, in your pajamas. It's kind of fun.
Honestly, I didn't expect to get that answer from you. I know you definitely enjoy IRL events, but yeah, I definitely didn't expect that answer. Russ, what do you think about the webcam thing?
I think I'm definitely on the other side of the spectrum from Marcus. I didn't play out any webcam events. I pretty much just joined for the participation. And not to dog on them, if you liked webcam events, good for you. It was definitely a good alternative to no events for COVID. But for me personally, I'm just somebody that can't really get motivated unless I'm around other people. I like the environment of IRL events with all your friends there, meeting new people, and just the competition level. It just feels different when you're in person as opposed to just sitting at home.
Yeah, I'm definitely on Russ's side there. I really do appreciate the fact that they came up with this compromise because obviously it is better than having no events. And in my case, I actually didn't compete in a single webcam event. I could have done what Russ did and gotten some participation prizes. I probably should have done that. But honestly, in my house, I can't be alone or uninterrupted for 5 hours straight. So that's why I actually love just going and taking a trip for a weekend. So that might be an unexpected thing. But anyways, yeah, I mean, I think it is a good thing that they had them overall, but. I don't know. I wonder actually if you guys prefer IRL or webcam down below, you guys listening to this. So leave a comment down below whether you prefer IRL or webcam or maybe some combination of both. But yeah, I did want to talk about the Sideboard Best of One because obviously that's what Bandai is going to be experimenting with at the DBS Fests where, they were going to go with this Unison Warrior tournament and a lot of players voiced the fact that they didn't really want to do that as a main event. And I didn't really hate it because I think that if you're going to try to support alternate formats, kind of like Magic does, you have to start somewhere. And the DBS Fest, I guess, is sort of being advertised as not a super competitive event. It's not really part of the OP season, but now that they're going to the Sideboard Best of One, that actually has some really good implications for future competitive events. So I already did a whole video talking about my thoughts on Sideboard Best of One. I'm not going to really rehash that here, but I am going to let Russ just give his opinions first on Sideboard Best of One.
I'm excited to try it out. I know Bandai said this is just a trial. This isn't a permanent thing, but it could be, right? If people go to the festival events and end up loving the Best of One sideboard, it could be a permanent thing. I played Flesh and Blood a little bit when it first came out, and I thought it was a cool concept coming from that game. Ultimately, I didn't really like Flesh and Blood as a whole, but I do think the pre-side game one is an interesting concept, and I'm excited to just try it for one event. If we don't like it, Bandai has always been good about listening to the community. So I'm sure, if it doesn't go over well, it won't be a thing. But as a control player, I do like it because, now I get to still play my control decks, but not have to play a full, complete 50, 60-minute round.
Yeah, for sure. That's going to be a big thing. And I feel like a lot of people are not going to like this, that tournaments are a little bit shorter in the sense that, you don't get as many opportunities to win your match. But I think overall, just for everyone's mental and for, the staff running the tournament, it is going to be a little bit nicer that tournaments can be run a bit shorter. And I think this is a really good compromise because by allowing Sideboard, you do get to eliminate a lot of that variance. But anyways, Koos, what are your thoughts on Sideboard Best of One?
I personally love it. I kind of went through the same phase with Russell. We played Flesh and Blood for a little bit, and right away, you go to a tournament that they have, and you learn that you side best of one, and that's all their main event structure. And at first, I thought it was a little hacky, but when I actually played the game, it felt really cool. Like it wasn't like best of one is just variance, pure variance, and it's all luck. It wasn't that type of thing. You actually felt like you were making an impact with your sideboard. So I think for competitive play, best of one with sideboard is awesome. And after playing all the webcams with all the best of one events that they had this past year, sometimes you run into those matchups where it's auto lose, right? And so it kind of sucks that you just lose right away with no option to sideboard. So I think for webcam play, if they bring that in as well, I think it's going to be great. I think overall it's just going to be a really great experience for best of one. So I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I really think that could actually improve the quality of life of webcam a lot as well. I think that's a really, really good thing. But this actually makes me want to just go with another question right away that kind of just popped in my head. Koos, do you think that sideboard best of one could potentially phase out best of three Swiss? Like, what do you think about the implications of that?
And that is a loaded question because, on one hand, if you ask me, I like shorter rounds. Like, I'm an old guy, going to a tournament and playing 10 hours a day, like, it takes a toll on me. So, a part of me likes going for a short amount of time and then enjoying the rest of the day with my friends there at the event and, getting to have that social experience that Russ talked about earlier. I like that. But on the other hand, it's like it's best of three, man. Come on, like that's how we play the game. That's
Hmm.
the game right there. So yeah, it's tough. I personally hope best of three does stay. I don't want it to switch over completely because yeah, it's just I love the game of Dragon Ball, and I think it's meant to be best of three. Although I once again see all the pros for best of one as well. So I think both of them at once, like side events and that type of stuff, I think it'll be great. But I really do hope that best of three is here to stay.
All right, Russ. So, what are your thoughts? Do you think that Cyborg Best of One could phase out Best of Three Swiss? And if you don't think it does, how do you think they can kind of find a good balance of, okay, we'll do Cyborg Best of One at these events, but we'll do Best of Three at these events? What do you think?
I do actually think it has a good shot at phasing out best of three, just because for organized play, they obviously introduced the play until one undefeated rule to try and shorten the Swiss rounds for day one, because most events will end, a round or two early, and then that's it, right? That's an extra 2-3 hours that they don't have to pay or whatever their staff to be there. And if you do best of one pre-sided, you can get rid of the play till one undefeated that everybody hates anyway. So you can set 8 rounds. It's going to be 8 rounds, and you're going to be there for even less time, right? So there's pros and cons to both of it. I think the biggest con to me, though, is viewership as far as streaming experience goes. It just, the streamers are going to have to adapt just because it is a best of one. So if you go in and one game ends in like 5 minutes, it's an aggro matchup, you have to have a backup match ready to go, or else the stream just got a 5-minute match and now they're sitting waiting for the next round.
You bring up a lot of good points there. I actually kind of didn't even consider that going into this about the one undefeated rule, right? And yeah, it seems like that was really implemented for no other reason than to just reduce the time of tournaments overall, which again, as you mentioned, a lot of players really hate. And that's actually pretty funny because people voiced their hate for the Unison Warrior format at the DBS Fest, and Bandai switched it like that. They really did just like change it all over the place. And with the one undefeated rule, people have also voiced their hate on that, but Bandai hasn't really jumped to do anything about it. So I guess maybe it is just for the sake of their TOs. I keep hearing that it's in the TOs like kind of guidebook that it's up to them, I guess, if they want to do one undefeated or a set number of rounds. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't have access to that resource, but I guess that brings up another point. Koos, what do you think about the? I mean, I know you probably just strongly dislike it, but what do you think about the one undefeated rule going forward? And yeah, I mean, do you think it's worth Bandai taking a look at and changing it?
Yeah, I think so. I also don't like it because, I hate being surprised, right? Like, uh, besides the gameplay to a tournament, there's also a strategic way to approach the tournament as well. And when you're in the tournament and you're like X2, you're like, I gotta win out here. And then all of a sudden, they end the tournament early, and now all that effort and time that you spent trying to win out from an X2 bracket, it's just kind of gone to waste. Whereas if you knew you were out, you just drop from the tournament and go on with your day. So it kind of sucks when you have these like sudden events happen that are out of your control that you don't even see happen and ruin your tournament experience as a whole. So I think a set number of rounds prevents that. Um, I think something along the lines of just having a set number of rounds or ending the tournament after like you can guarantee all X2s make the next phase. Something like that would be best. But I do not like the whole play until one undefeated rule. And I do know that the TOs do have control over that.
I see. Yeah, that's definitely something I heard, and I guess now it's pretty much confirmed. But yeah, I mean, it is a really big feels bad. Like just a short story at Gen Con, George Machado, owner of PPG, shout out to him. I think something crazy happened. Like he went undefeated until the last round, and then he lost the last round. And I think it bumped him like all the way down to 7th place or something like that. Like if you go X1 into the last round, there's no way you should end up 7th place. That's just really insane. And that kind of weird stuff happens with this one undefeated rule, which is kind of insane. But anyways, for the next question, this is kind of just an idea that I had, and I'm throwing this as like a curveball to Markus and Russell just to see what they think. So maybe a good way to like split up, sideboard best of one, regular best of three, and then this idea that I'm going to present in a second would be, different calibers of events, right? So maybe you do sideboard best of one primarily for webcam. Maybe you do regular best of three for your, your regionals and maybe slightly bigger events. But then for a tournament like Worlds, right, where it's supposed to be the highest caliber play, which I think Worlds this year was cool. I mean, it had to be on webcam because of the state of the world. That's all well and good. But for a higher caliber event like that, and let's just say Dragon Ball starts doing like YCS level events in the near future, something a little bit bigger than a regional. What if there was this format where it's a best of three, but you get to sideboard in game one. So basically you get to sideboard all 3 games. You take the same rules as sideboard best of one, you place your leaders down, and then you get to sideboard appropriately, and you get to sideboard. It might make the games a little bit longer, but again, I'm talking about this for like a much higher caliber event where you can really reduce the amount of variance in RNG in the tournament. This way, the most skilled player prevails, because you do often hear about players, running into auto loss matchups and how it can really impact your day on the tournament. So that just seems like an interesting thought that I had. Russ, what do you think about that?
That is a very interesting topic, I guess. Siding all 3 games. Honestly, I'm not sure if I'm completely for a side of all 3 games. I'm definitely interested to try out this best of one pre-sided and see how that goes. Depending on how advantageous it is to be able to side game 1 and go first, I think would determine whether or not I think it's appropriate to just do that for all 3 games. So I think the festival events will definitely shine some light on whether or not going forward that could be a thing.
Yeah, and by the way, I don't think this is like at all practical. Again, maybe you could do this at a tournament where time doesn't really matter, like Worlds, but I don't know, just a thought that I kind of had that would really just reduce variance. And Dragon Ball already has super low variance, so maybe it's just completely unnecessary. But yeah, Koos, what do you think? You can dump on my idea all you like.
Yeah, you're a stupid idea. No, I'm just kidding. I think if you are trying to maximize the skill represented at the game and the most highest level play, then yes, that makes sense to me. Where yeah, you just sideboard every game, so you're playing the maximum, capacity of every single deck. But yeah, I do think that it might be a little overkill. So definitely not at tournaments, but for exhibition events, maybe it could be something implemented. It could be something interesting for sure, something to try maybe.
Yeah, maybe something to try. Actually, yeah, like they have this Dragon Ball Battle Hour coming up, and that's something where I guess where time probably doesn't matter, so maybe that could be a cool thing to do. But anyways, getting off this topic because it doesn't really matter all that much, I want to wrap up this video talking about an online client because people in the community have been asking it since the game came out, and it just doesn't really seem like it's in sight, at least anything that we've seen leaked or maybe teased. But we have to bring up Master Duel because Yu-Gi-Oh just got an online client, and I mean, I don't know numbers or logistics or anything, but I can tell you a ton of people in the Dragon Ball community that we're close with have been playing it. And I don't think it's like taking them away from Dragon Ball or anything, but just that accessibility to a quote unquote free to play online client. Obviously, you can do things in the game faster if you pay money, but that is attracting a lot of people. For how long? Maybe for a couple weeks, maybe permanently, who knows, right? But I personally don't think that Master Duel is going to kill Paper Yu-Gi-Oh! I think that game is just way too ingrained in the card game community to die realistically, unless Konami wanted to transition fully into digital. But yeah, I think Master Duel is honestly only going to help Yu-Gi-Oh! As long as they kind of handle it correctly. And that's one of the big arguments is, oh, an online client will kill the paper game. So going to Russell first, if there ever was a glimpse that we could get an online client, do you think it'd be worth it? Do you think it'd be helpful to the game? What do you think?
I mean, I think an online client would always be helpful to a game. I think it would help grow the player base exponentially. I would definitely play it. I think the one difference, though, is Yu-Gi-Oh! With its TV show, and it's always been catered towards kids. Like, kids are always going to buy packs, right? And the casuals are what keep card games alive.
Yep.
The people that go into your stores, buy the packs, those are the people that keep card games afloat. That's what makes the companies their money. So I don't think Paper Yu-Gi-Oh! Would ever die because of a Master Duel, because of the kids and people that will continue to buy packs. But because DBS is formatted differently and they never really did cater to the kids, I think there is a chance that a client could kill Paper DBS in the sense that, if you could do all your competitive games from home and win the same prizes at Nats and Worlds, on your Switch, and not have to spend all this money on traveling, I think it could kill Paper DBS just because it's just so far different from what Yu-Gi-Oh! Is.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. And I'm just going to drop this point really quick. It's not really a talking point, but I do think that when the anime comes back, that's hopefully going to just open up the marketing exponentially, and hopefully, more younger kids will get into the game because, like Russ mentioned, the cartoon for Yu-Gi-Oh! Helps keep younger generations involved. But anyways, Koos, what do you think about the online client deal?
I honestly think it's a shame that we don't have one yet. It's 2022, man. We should have an online client now. I despise and I do not like Yu-Gi-Oh! The card game at all. Like, I think it's horrible. Don't enjoy it whatsoever. But watching everybody play, and I'm talking about everybody, from Espira, Eggman to, Zuhair, and like the randomest people on my Facebook feed playing this game, it made me want to play Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, I was really debating downloading it. So I could only imagine how DBS would be, where if it came out, I would be playing that nonstop, and I would be spending money on that game and the card game because I also love collecting cards. But I don't think it will hurt at all because, with Master Duel, we saw so many people that didn't play the card game anymore download Master Duel and just start playing. So Yu-Gi-Oh! Just gained a ton of people, brought a ton of people into their game that weren't in their game before. So I think they grew their audience. I think they grew their potential customers for the card game as well. But not to mention, the video game itself is also generating revenue because these guys are buying packs, in the game itself too. So they just increased their, revenue streams. I think it was like a big win for Yu-Gi-Oh! And I think if DBS does something, it would be a big win for them too. I think the number of people you bring in will outweigh the number of people that stop buying packs IRL. So I think overall, you would be making money.
Yeah, I generally agree with you. I don't think it would really hurt Dragon Ball in general. Like in this off season, right after Worlds, us on the team here, we're playing so many different games. Like a lot of us are playing Teamfight Tactics. Recently, a lot of us have been playing Lost Ark. When Master Duel came out, a lot of guys went to Master Duel. So we've all said several times, if Dragon Ball had an online client, we would just be grinding it nonstop. We would be no-lifing it, absolutely 110%, because this is the game that we all love, but we just don't really have that option to, play whenever we want. And yeah, there's Untap, but that doesn't support the actual release of the game. And a nice online client with Untap is great, by the way, but an online client that had a nice interface would be pretty dope. But overall, guys, I think we hit all the points we wanted to talk about. I think we actually brought up some really, really cool topics. So thank you guys so much for going through that with us. Thank you for going over this for the listeners. Koos, takeaway shoutouts first.
Yeah, shout outs to the team. For sure, chilling on Discord all the time is really fun. Shout outs to you, Joey, keeping up the consistent content. That's also really cool. I can't wait for the next season to come for DBS Play. It's been a while since Nats. I'm ready. DBS Fest should be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys, get going to that. I'm looking forward to this year. I have a lot of hope. I have a lot of hope that this year is going to be really, really good. So we'll see how it goes.
Russ, your turn.
Yeah, shout out to the team. Shout out to Mystic TCG, Deck Planet, any other sponsor that I'm sorry I'm forgetting. Shout out to Joey. I think that this little mini podcast and discussions are definitely healthy for the game. And I actually really enjoyed the topics we talked about today.
Awesome, man. It's like you guys have never been in deck profiles before. But anyways, thank you guys so much for your time. I appreciate it. We'll see you in the next video.